Today on Homeworthy, we're taking you to the art-filled sculptural home of interior designer Amy Hirsch. Her modern farmhouse stands out among the other homes in Cos Cob, Connecticut, as she built it to feel like you're stepping into a terrarium, with plants dispersed in each room and glass walls all around that peer out into the lush outdoor sanctuary. Enjoy! You're watching Homeworthy, where we believe every home has a story. To shop items inspired by this and other Homeworthy episodes, be sure to check out the product links below for amazing furniture, accessories, and more.
Welcome, Homeworthy. I am Amy Hirsch, and we are really excited to share our home with you in Cos Cob, Connecticut, and welcome to our home. We are in my entryway, and it is the first part of welcoming somebody into our home, and we wanted it to feel like a little bit like a gallery. We have an incredible piece of art from Christina Watka, who she is an artisan from Maine, and I am a huge fan of pottery. So these are all clay pieces that go through a process of five different hands before that it comes to me. And we do this quite often in clients' homes, but here what I love is that it just carries you through our space and it's very fluid. Our home, you will see, is like a terrarium. It feels like a greenhouse. I'm always surrounded by greens and plants, and I tend to them and I nurture them, and it's a huge part of our home. And then we have one of the biggest impacts of our home is this great piece by Jenny Boots, who is a fabulous photographer. And this is kind of our badass protector that takes care of us and watches over us. So as we shift through, we go into one of my favorite spaces of our home, which is our dining room. And what I love about our dining room is that it gets a ton of light, and it is a mix, a very eclectic mix of a lot of different pieces, and has this organic component. One of the really fabulous things about our house is that we have these wonderful beams that are 200 years old that came out of a barn in Tennessee. So that was like a really big component to our home. And one of the very last pieces that we installed in our home, and we built our home from scratch about 7 years ago, is this hand-painted custom DeJournay panel. It's one of my favorites. And what I love about it as we travel through the house is that in the morning when I walk down, I'm able to see it. It's one of the first things that I see as I enter into kind of our spaces. One of the best things that we do in our design philosophy is that we love to mix things. It's the high, the low, and everything in between. So, we're looking at, always comfort first and foremost. I think one of the most important factors about our interiors is that it's approachable, it's livable, and our house really embodies that. So our chairs are Anthropologie. Our table actually is Restoration Hardware. It takes a beating, it is a workhorse, but then we have really high-end pieces like the DeJournay and our Mark Phillips rug, which Mark is one of my favorite vendors that we have and that we use, and it has this tribal feel. And our home has this really casual, quiet elegance that is just comforting. Super comforting. You'll see throughout our house that I really wanted emerging artists within our house. And this is a really fabulous piece that looks like a puzzle that's all made out of wood. And the DeJournay panel that is all custom behind us is hand painted, really spectacular. It's actually traditional for me. So my roots are, I went back to my traditional roots, even though we live in a modern farmhouse. One of the impactful things about our home is that we love natural light. And the natural light, as we travel through this big swath of glass, huge expanses of it, it's just, we never have to turn on the lights. We can see the green. This is the best time to live in New England. It's just a super peaceful place to be. And our home is our sanctuary. Our home, feels like a resort. We try, it's really hard to leave, to be quite honest, but everything within our home is all about the artisans that we brought in, and they're like my friends. I want to be surrounded by them. And it was actually a really difficult decision to decide which artisans I was going to bring in here, because when you design for most clients, you're designing for maybe bigger scale, larger expanses. And in this, you had to be really, really strategic about which pieces you were going to bring in, because they were selective. And so our kitchen is the hub. Our kitchen is a space that I didn't want it to be like everybody else's. It's expansive. And when we entertain here, it just is easy, and it's just inviting because you can be fluid between all of the spaces, and everything has a purpose when we designed our home. Everything has a place, we function well, we're able to clean up exceptionally quickly from gatherings. And we wanted a house that still felt organic, not a white kitchen, one where we mix walnut and black absolute and a black painted kitchen. I think my husband was mortified when I said that I was going to do a black painted kitchen, but it suits us and it suits the house, and everything just recedes and you're able to see the outdoors, and it's really just, it's the center of our home. We entertain quite a bit. We have tons of family, tons of friends that come in and out. So it's a really fabulous place to be able to do that. But when we designed the home, I also tried to use things that were a little bit different, right? This is our storage for all of our glassware. So it's not your conventional upper cabinetry storage. So this slides in. It's a great use because you get a tremendous amount of it. And I also wanted hardware in the places that it's exposed, that it's different. So we did custom walnut and metal hardware, and big hardware, not things that are itty bitty or tiny. Everything within our kitchen has a place and a purpose. I love a drawer within a drawer. It's kind of my go-to whenever we design a kitchen. So this is our drawer within the drawer. And it was super important for me to also utilize the walnut. So the walnut is inside all of our cabinetry, which to me, it's all about the quality. It's about a wood that I absolutely adore and is really user-friendly as we use it in different types of pieces, and was really part of the mantra of, I'm a big believer in distribution and how you do that throughout a house. So in our house, our furniture is wood, our table is wood, our credenzas are wood, our sideboards, coffee table. So that wood comes into play, and it's soft on your hands, and it's easy and relaxing on the eye. And one of the best things that we have, which is slightly messy, is our pantry. Our pantry holds everything. And what's wonderful about the pantry is that we can close it down and it looks just like the rest of the cabinetry. So everything happens within the pantry. And so our kitchen really stays really neat and super, less fuss happens here, which is, I have to say, makes my life really easy, super easy. Everything is real. We have privets and we have different types of trees, and the dahlias came from my mother's garden, which she has an incredible garden. But we are constantly tending to trees and plants, and seasonally they come into our home, and I think that's my luxury, and I will say that that is my, it's my weakness, to be quite honest with you. But the balance between our home is this organic approach and a modern sensibility. So the light fixture, which has structure to it, but it also has this organic component with the glass, resides over one of this great live edge walnut table that was done by Withers and Grain. And we are here all the time. We sit here, we have mostly our dinner is here. Our kids, we have 2 girls who are constantly coming and going. So the island actually gets used majority of the time. And these are the greatest bar stools because they are a mixture of walnut and rope, and everything falls through it if you have messy kids, which I have one of. But everything we also have is super durable. I think that is a key component to the way that we live. And we use our home. It's, you know, what I say to all my clients. I want you to be able to use your home because that's what it's for. And in here, we actually created a custom banquette. We did this custom channeling detail. Everybody sits here. It's a great place to read. It's a great place to do work. You know, if I'm working from home, it's either here or in the dining room. So our house is super flexible for all of these spaces. The nice part about when we built our house is that we came with nothing. So we were able to start fresh and start with just the key pieces. So we actually live this way. We live in a very simple manner. Some people may tell you that I don't live that simply, but it's livable, it's easy, it's less fuss. And I think that we live with the things that are very important to us as opposed to just filling a space. And I think that one of the most important parts about when you build a home or you design a home is that you leave room to grow. Because with that, you can add in the plants, and seasonally the house changes, and especially in the holidays when you have a Christmas tree or you have other things, it becomes fuller. So what's lovely about our home is that we wore restraint purposely throughout our home just because we didn't want to live with fuss. I'm going to take you guys into our family room. One of the fabulous parts about our house is that we have this double height family space that's almost about 20 feet tall. Again, has these incredible antique wood beams. The center beam is about 800 pounds. It was definitely not fun watching them put this up. But one of the other factors that's very cool about our home is our fireplace actually houses our staircase behind it. And one of the main things that when we built our house with our architect is that we said to them, we don't want to see our stairs. We don't want it to be in a prominent area, but we clearly need it. And the beauty about our staircase, that as we are over here, when it is sunny and when the light does travel through here, it becomes its own art installation. So the light in our house is key because it feels different all the time, and it casts these incredible lights, shadows, and movement throughout. So, and we also, when fabricating certain things like the fireplace, and what we did was we stained the rift oak in kind of this gray wash. And the interesting part about this is that the boards start and they gradate up, and they gradate into smaller forms and then into larger pieces. So again, you know, everybody says to me, are you gonna put a piece of art on there? It's really hard because the wood itself is so beautiful. And I think for me, when I use all of these different types of materials, it's important that they are seen and that they're exposed, and it's really beautiful. I mean, as you even travel up through the staircase, you can also touch it and interact with it, and it's really beautiful. This space is actually for our family. When we entertain, it's primarily in our kitchen and out into the outdoors. But in here, we have 3 dogs who I did not let stay here today. But we are always on this couch. Our girls are here with us. We watch TV. The TV's on quite a bit. And we love watching documentaries and different series. But the room itself is so cozy and it's so warm. And again, it has all of these different artisans and our emerging artists for the artwork throughout. So one of my favorite pieces, which is like art, is our coffee table. So our coffee table is made up from this incredible artisan out in Brooklyn, his wood furniture. And it actually is encased in resin with the walnut and a steel base. The metal is encapsulated within the resin, and so it looks like it's floating. This piece was one of the very first pieces that I selected when we built our home. I have to say that one of the most important facts about building a home, I'm just so grateful. I'm so grateful that I got the opportunity. I'm so grateful that I was able to hire the right people My architect is Paolo Vicente, and our builder, Keith Manka. They really created this incredible haven for us. You can see that, they were really strategic about the planning, and I think that most people have to remember that when you go through a build, you have to have the right people in place. So our architect, one of the most strategic things that he did was he took our home, because what was here was a knockdown. When he designed the house, he actually pulled the house 25 feet forward on the property. I thought that was crazy. Why would you do that? Well, when you get to see that our sanctuary, when we get to go out there, is just incredible. So we live in our backyard, and our backyard is just expansive. And we knew that when we were building a house and looking for a piece of property, we wanted an acre of land. And this is, it feels like you're so remote that you're someplace else. I love pattern, and I love, one of the other interesting parts about our home is that you will see snippets of pattern throughout. And the other part is that we really live in no color here, because the color is the outdoors, but all day long every interior designer is entrenched in color. So it was really important that our house was really, really tranquil, and that the pieces had interest, but was also very, very neutral. One of the interesting pieces in our house is this vertigo light fixture. It acts as a mobile, and it has like a center source of light. But when the doors are open, it actually moves and it twists, and it gives you this volume that humanizes a space that is quite large in volume of height. I think all interior designers, they have this really great craft and gift that is different than how most people think. And when we designed this house, I didn't want what everybody else had, and I wanted a home that was really organic and different and unusual, and a bit of a bit edgier than most, and one that just could live freely, and one that I didn't have to think about maintaining it. So, a lot of the pieces that we use within our house, they have this longevity. There's very little maintenance that has to happen in our home, and that was a key component of when we built our home. But I think it's funny, when I gave, to be on the other side, building your home was a great perspective, because I was able to see that for my clients and go through that process with my clients and understand what it meant to be on the other side. So we gave a 1955 Mercury sled car as the inspiration for our home. And I have to say, our architect really felt that. He really understood that. It's edgy, but it's classic, and it's unusual. As we kind of travel around the fireplace, what's really cool about our house is that we have these slices of windows, and all different sizes and all different widths and heights. And again, the beauty about these spaces is, in order to see certain things, is to not have too many other things impacting it. So again, we come back up to this landing. This is a little bit more curated for our family photos, which we take a lot of, and also just a landing zone. Up here, you travel through to my daughter's rooms, but we have, again, really unique artisan pieces. That also lies in the pottery. I love and am obsessed with pottery, and because it also houses like all of our flowers and different things that we want to use. But this piece is by Simon John. He's an incredible artisan that I found through ICFF, and what's lovely about this is that there's storage within here, and you can do this in different sizes. And so this was something that I thought was, again, created this organic component that was up here, because it's simple. Everything, the walls are simple, the flooring is simple. That was kind of part of the intention as we travel through this upper landing that takes us to our primary suite. So in our primary suite, again, it is the distribution of the antique beams. This is what I call my decompression walk. I feel like I'm in a treehouse. I get to overlook my property, but everything in here is tranquil and serene. This is our sitting room that leads us to our primary. And one of the great things about here is this isn't a huge space, but you look like you are floating. And you're actually, if you come close to the edge, you literally are floating over the roof and over the entire yard. But what is lovely about here is that I actually use this quite a bit. I use this to read, I use this to take phone calls, and I actually work quite often up here. It's great light. You feel at peace when you're here. And again, there are really special pieces, artists, and unique custom pieces that we made. So that was the other part about our home, is rather than having pieces that are just store-bought, I wanted things that were really special and unique. So we made this daybed. We have an incredible upholsterer. I love mixing fabrics, so I love linen and this great charcoal cotton velvet, and super durable. Again, mixing different textures together and then creating this channel detail. It's super simple when you think about it, but really super custom on top of it. And then we have our Ben Ham, who we love, South Carolina, and so he is a fabulous photographer from them. And there's things that when you're designing for clients, you fall in love with. Clients have certain things, you find a connection to them, you fill the space and want to be surrounded by that all the time. So the other part is that the ceiling is all of the wood. Here we went a little bit darker, but it's the same wood floor. And again, it just creates this really, really special, more intimate space. And as we travel into our bedroom, we intentionally chose no carpet in here, which is quite nice. But I have to say that every day that when I put my feet on the ground, I am so grateful. And I want all of my clients to feel this way, because when you live in a way that there's just simple beauty, so our room is very simple, but again, crafted with all of this art around here, you're just more centered, I think. One of the most unique things about our home, and what I had said to our architect, was I don't want to get stuck at the end of our room, right? Most bedrooms, when you come through, there's one way. Ours actually rotates all 360 around. So we share a closet, and it's just enough, right? And again, when you create from the ground up, you can really organize. And I think that being able to have multi-heights and, depending upon what you live with the most, the shoes kind of override other things, and everything again has a purpose. This is one of the greatest things that I think I've designed in a really long time. What's wonderful about this piece is that it serves for all of our storage, but it's also a great place for family photos, because in our home, we have limited space about where we put that, because of our walls are really full of windows. So the other part is my jewelry is kept here. It's something that is of ease. You can see it, you can access it. It's again about just creating a way of life that is kind of effortless in a way. Then as you travel through our bathroom, what's wonderful about here is this is where I truly feel like I'm in a tree house in a way. So our bathroom is made up of Nero Marquino marble that is in a herringbone pattern. We have this fabulous expansive window that is in here to let in all the natural light. And the best part about having a bathroom that you share is I find it important that when you're coming and going, you lead a kind of crazy life, it's a place to talk, right? You can talk in the morning, you can talk at night. I know that sounds kind of silly and sappy, but it's really important. And I think that that's, part of why we built our home, was to be connected and to be connected to each other. So we live with more greenery and the eucalyptus, and It's all about health and wellness here on top of it. What I love is, again, the incredible textures that we used. So we used, again, the walnut mixed with the marble. And of course, we have gorgeous, gorgeous fabrics that feel like a spa. We are gonna head outside so that I can share with you our sanctuary. It is one of the most fabulous places for us to be, and one that makes it really hard to leave here. As we go outside, this is one of, I think, the gems of our home. And, you know, the beauty too is this inside out living. Has this kind of California ease. This also opens up again, so which makes it really expansive. And when we are out here, nobody wants to leave. Friends, family. And I think that's one of the most grateful parts about being able to build something like this, is being able to bring everybody together. So there's also very distinctive settings within this space. One, and I have to say, they evolved over time. It wasn't as if we just finished the house and then had all of this furniture. This seating area came after we realized that this was a pretty big deck and we wanted another place to come out. We have our coffee out here. We'll start with a drink out here in the afternoons and weekends. And then again, bringing out the organic component of the live edge oak. And everything we have out here is super durable. So we can sit a ton of friends around here. And then we have this fabulous lower level, which is our fire pit that we love, and that we really use this more in the fall and then early spring. This is kind of its own room outside, which we really enjoy. When we actually finished our home, there was still dirt. I said, oh my gosh, where's the pool? I should have did the pool. But it took time. And I think within that time, we finished the pool about a year, maybe 2 years after we built our home. But what I love about our pool, again, it's a black pool. Technically, it's black. Today with the sun, it's looking a little bit more like indigo blue. But I wanted something that was also different than most people had. And I wanted it to feel like a resort. I didn't want it to feel New England in any way. What's fabulous about being out here is that it's really about the sound. And so we have very simple plantings that happen behind the sun chaises and everything. So when the wind is blowing, it's the sound, it's just the rustling of the grasses, and it's just really super tranquil. But then what we decided to do was create this incredible pool house. And this is a reprieve from the sun, but it's also just a great place that we have a party, we entertain in, we read, we spend time out here watching TV. And this is open air on two sides. And this is another place of where we have our greenery. So it is just like its own little greenhouse within here, and it's just relaxing. And every detail that we created within here is just, I don't know, really special, super special. So the black is actually yellow cedar. It is the same material that we used on our garage. The nice part about this, it stays cool. So when it's sultry and super hot outside, this really does, it just is very cooling. So the other thing is that the nice part about here is that we have refrigerator, wine, ice, everything is out here because it is a little bit of a distance to go from here to the main house. But again, serving, entertaining, just kind of living. So it was really important for us to kind of have this storage out here. This is all made out of teak, so it can handle the sun and it can handle our environment. And again, another eclectic mix of furniture, even just a little bit more color out here. It's not much, but it's something that is playful and unique, and you know, the orange and picks up on the wood and ties back into the house, and it's just, it's like a resort. It really is a resort. So we're super lucky. I would say that in the plan, even the beauty about having an architect, and as you go through a master plan, which is really important, is being able to know what was down the pipeline and what was the future. So we always knew that we were going to do a pool and a pool house. It was just the timing. We actually started before COVID, and so we were super lucky. We weren't in the masses that, were kind of really having a difficult time to fulfill that. So we were really fortunate because during COVID, this finished and we were able to enjoy it and spend a lot of time out here. And then we also added this woodland garden, which did not exist. And, we wanted something that the beauty about also where we live is there's a tremendous amount of trails around, and we love being outside. We love being in the woods. So we added this woodland garden to kind of just feel more connected to nature and be outside. And again, it's no maintenance, which is really fabulous. It's overgrown and it's a little messy, and it's fine. It's okay. And, nothing here is pristine. Nothing in our home is pristine. And it's comfortable. It's easy. One of the very cool things about the pool house here is these LED rope lights. So they are waterproof, which is wonderful. They can be submerged in water. And the interesting part is that you can place, as we did this as like an art installation. So they swoop through, they overlap one another, and at night from afar, it's just really magical because it allows it to glow, but it's different, it's unusual, and it's not your typical light fixture. And the beauty about this light fixture is that you can do this in so many different ranges, and you just have to be creative about how you handle it. And, I think that when you also pre-plan, one of the most important parts is, initially I started out as 3, but it needed more. So I think that that's the other key about when you get to build from scratch, you are able to think about all the different components and what is the best form for the space. And again, this is kind of what, other than the structure itself, which is really very simple, it just creates another softness, right? There's a lot of angles, there's a lot of rigidity within the house because of the shapes of things, and this just adds another level of softness to it. A home is a place of center. It's a place where you come and you feel secure, where there's love and there's laughter, and a place that you just don't want to leave. And our home feels that way. And I am just beyond grateful that I can share this home with you and that we get to enjoy this every day. And it's just a little slice of our perfection.
Thanks for watching. Be sure to go to homeworthy.com for exclusive content, shopping guides, and so much more.